Let's bring in Brew.
Okay.
Chris Broussard. Well, Mr. Confident over here, he's already bailed on Miami. Now, it is interesting, Chris, as I think you would point out, Denver doesn't have to necessarily play great to win. I didn't think they played particularly well in game one. They don't even have to shoot well to win. They've shot under 30% twice on threes. They're the better team. Do you think do you think tonight's close, or do you think tonight is sort of the ultimate stamp of we got a mismatch here?
Well, look, I hate to count Miami out. I'm with J-Mac. I think Denver's clearly the better team, and they will win this series. And I do think they'll win tonight. But I'll give Miami a chance out of respect for how hard they played, their heart, their coaching, and their ability to get hot from three. But you mentioned it. What does Denver have to do to win this game tonight? Here's what they have to do. Play hard.
Yes.
Really. Play hard and smart, right? Miami beat two more talented teams in Milwaukee and Boston simply because they played harder and smarter than those two teams. Well, if Denver's more talented too, and if they match Miami's how hard they play and how smart they play, they'll beat them. We saw at game 3, they hit 5 3-pointers. This year, regular season and playoffs, teams that made 5 or fewer 3-pointers were 12-51. And not only does Denver win game 3, but they rout them by 15 points. And one thing we always learn in the playoffs, it seems, Colin, in this three-point era, is that the mid-range jumper is still valuable.
Yes.
All right, Golden State shot a lot of mid-range jumpers in their run with Durant, and even before that, Toronto with Kawhi Leonard, he was primarily a mid-range jump shooter. So don't abandon the mid-range shot, and Denver is showing you that if you play good defense, then you can shoot mid-range jumpers and still win.
When Magic Johnson came into the league and did that set shot, he couldn't shoot a jumper, remember? And a lot of people were like, it was an ugly jumper. And my takeaway was, we're looking at something we've never seen. Inside the league, when you talk to people, I think he's got a little bird. I think he's fascinating. It's not an aesthetically beautiful game, but what do people think about? Are we looking at an all-time player here?
Yeah, we are. We're clearly looking at an all-time player. Obviously, you want to he has to win championships, win this one, and maybe he wins more to figure out how high he ends up being ranked. But this is an all-time great player, and I think you said it when you brought up Magic, and I think he's a 7-foot version of Larry Bird. Now, there's some differences. Bird obviously shot the ball more from the perimeter, but his intelligence, his skill set, he can score at every level, and he baffles you because he's not quick. He's not fast. He doesn't jump, but he can always get his shot off.
Yeah.
This guy is phenomenal. I think he's the best player in the league, and I love watching him.
So do I.
I mean, I get some people don't. Yeah, the only thing he does that's flashy are his passes, and not all of them are. I mean, he's not on the Bird or Magic level in terms of fancy passes, but I think he's the best player in the league, and I'm interested in seeing after I believe they get this championship, can he go on and win multiple championships? He's young. The team is young. They're well coached. They're the type of, system where guys are going to stay there. They're going to keep their coach for a long time. So I think he's got a chance to win multiple championships.
Okay, so J-Mac may have talked me into something. So I look at Chris Paul to the Lakers, and I'm like, do they need another guy who plays 45 regular season games? But J-Mac brought it up, is that KD has admitted I'm not a leader. Right. DeAndre Ayton's talented. He's not a leader. Booker's gifted. But before Chris Paul got there, they were a rudderless franchise with a talented guy named Devin Booker. He's not a classic leader. Is that if you get Chris Paul out of Phoenix, they're just talented. They're not necessary. And he has been his leadership, toughness, IQ, that by taking him to Los Angeles, you have really created a talented, but perhaps a little rudderless on the floor team, and that his value is not just to the Lakers, it's that it hurts the Suns. Do you buy that?
There's some truth to that. But if I'm Phoenix, and I get it, we don't know if Booker can be a leader. Obviously, he wasn't before Chris Paul got there, but he was young. Has he developed that now? KD clearly isn't and has said he isn't. So that is true. But if I'm Phoenix, I am ready to move on. I mean, if Chris comes back at a really discount rate, sure, that's fine. My problem with CP3 is that when I need him most, like if he's talking about Lakers and he's talking about the Suns, maybe the Clippers as well, those are championship or bust teams. And if I can't count on Chris Paul in the playoffs, he's been hurt 2 of the last 3 postseasons, then what am I doing? Because if he gets hurt in the playoffs, just like this year, let's look at what happened. He played during the regular season, and then you get hurt in the playoffs. So now in the most important games, I'm playing differently than we played all season. They had to have Devin Booker handling the ball and running the point primarily because Chris Paul was hurt. So that's the danger that any contender picking up Chris Paul at this point has. And to be honest, that happened a lot even when he was younger in his prime with the Clippers. So that's the danger with CP3. I actually agree with some of what you said, Colin, about the Lakers, because LeBron's going to have the ball in his hands at times.
Right.
And Austin Reeves should have the ball in his hands at times. You know, he can play off the ball to some degree, but he is very good with the ball in his hands.
Right.
So you do take away some of that if you bring in Chris Paul. And obviously the age with him and then AD and LeBron's injury histories, that's a team that you're just waiting for somebody to go down in a heap. So I actually like Chris Paul in either Houston or San Antonio. Young guy, leader. I mean, he's a veteran, but he can work with the young guys, teach them how to play the game the right way, teach them about the league, be a leader. And when he's playing with them on the court, he won't get in the way of the young guys. He'll be feeding them and setting them up to be their best selves. So I would like him with one of those young groups, but I get it if he wants to go somewhere and have a shot at winning a ring.
All right, first things first is On Fire. It's a great watch. Chris Broussard holds Nick Wright accountable. Somebody needs to. Kevin Wildes as well. You look great. Good seeing you, buddy. Thanks again. Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from The Herd or go watch a few segments from other shows on FS1.